Have you ever stopped to think about what it really takes to care for our society's most vulnerable members? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're getting an exclusive inside look at the intense training for professional care staff at OHEL, a huge social services agency. So, let's step into a world that most of us never get to see.
And that's really the big question, isn't it? This is the whole reason we're here. We're talking about a job that's so much more than just a job. It's a mission. And it demands this incredible mix of compassion, strict discipline, and a ton of skill. So let's dive in and see what that actually looks like on the ground.
So this is the North Star, the guiding principle behind absolutely everything. OHEL's been around since 1969, and their whole mission is about holistic support. You know, everything from helping someone with disabilities find a great job to supporting a family that's going through a tough time. This statement right here, that's the why behind every single rule we're about to talk about.
All right, let's start our journey. The very first thing you have to do is really wrap your head around just how big and how important this whole mission is.
23,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's how many people OHEL helps every single year. And that's not just some abstract number. We're talking about 23,000 individual lives, 23,000 families, 23,000 unique stories. The sheer weight of that responsibility, well, that's the foundation for everything that comes next.
Okay, so once you really understand the why, you've got to learn how to represent it. This next part is all about what it means to be the public face of that mission. It's a huge responsibility.
This is such a critical point. Think about it. For a lot of people out there, a staff member might be the only interaction they ever have with the organization. So your professionalism, whether you're on time, your attitude, it all directly shapes how people see OHEL, and even more importantly, it builds the client's trust. You're not just there to provide care, you're basically a role model.
So, to make these big ideas really concrete and easy to remember, OHEL uses the acronym PRAISE. You can think of it like a code of conduct, a kind of mental checklist for every decision you make. It covers the whole shebang, from professional boundaries and safety rules to making absolutely sure every single client is treated with dignity and respect.
And here's where the rubber really meets the road, where those big ideas become everyday, non-negotiable rules. I mean, let's take that zero personal phone usage rule. That's not just about being polite, right? It's a massive safety issue. 1 second of distraction could lead to an accident. The client in your care deserves 100% of your focused attention, always, no exceptions.
This slide captures the reality of the role perfectly. It's this constant balancing act. On one hand, your goal is to empower people, to help them make their own choices and live independent lives. But on the other hand, you have to follow these really strict, very practical rules, like putting in for vacation 2 weeks ahead of time. Both sides are totally essential to keep the whole system running safely and effectively for everyone.
Okay, now we're going to get into a topic that might sound, well, a little boring. Paperwork. But you got to stick with me here, because this is actually the financial lifeblood of the entire operation. Get this right, and the payoff is huge. The rule itself is simple, and it is ironclad. Every service you provide, every goal you work on, every single interaction has to be logged. And it has to be factual, descriptive, and done within 48 hours. There is no wiggle room here.
And they do not mess around. The consequences for failing to do this are incredibly serious. This isn't just a suggestion, it's a core condition of the job. An employee who slacks on their documentation isn't just making a small mistake, they are seen as a liability to the entire organization.
So why? Why is it so unbelievably strict? Well, it all comes back to this number we saw earlier. How on earth does something as simple as filling out a form help protect the mission to serve these 23,000 people?
And here it is. This is the big aha moment. That paperwork isn't just busy work. OHEL is a nonprofit, right? They get their funding from government agencies. This documentation is the hard proof, the evidence they need to show during audits that the services were actually delivered. It's literally what keeps the lights on, what protects them from fraud claims, and ultimately, what allows them to keep doing all this incredible work.
Okay, so we've covered the rules, the risks, the paperwork, but now let's shift our focus to the real heart of it all, the individuals who are being served. It's time to understand the who.
Their entire approach is guided by these 4 key principles. The goal is never to do for the client, but to empower them. So that means encouraging independence, like having them take the lead on navigating public transport. It means promoting inclusion in the community, respecting their unique personality and goals, and helping them build real, productive skills.
And that support has to be tailored, because it's never a one-size-fits-all situation. I mean, client needs exist all across the spectrum. Some people might need constant one-on-one supervision, where a staff member is literally within arm's reach at all times. Others are completely independent. Knowing a client's specific supervision level is one of the most critical safety requirements of the job.
You know, the language we use has real power, and this is so important. Using what's called person-first language is a core part of showing respect. It's a way of saying that a person is not defined by their diagnoses or their disability. They are a person first and foremost.
And a huge part of respecting a person is respecting their privacy. That's where something called HIPAA comes in. This is a major federal law, and it's basically the bedrock of client confidentiality. Breaking this isn't just a violation of trust, it can lead to really serious legal trouble, both for the staff member and for the whole organization.
And now we're at the final section, and honestly, the most high-stakes part of this whole training. This is about what you do when things go wrong, when every single second counts.
Okay, let's put you in the hot seat for a second. Let's run a scenario. This is one of the most common emergencies you might face. A client falls. Your adrenaline starts pumping. What's your gut instinct? What's the very first thing you do?
Well, the correct answer is all about following a strict life-saving protocol. First, you call for help. Then you call your supervisor. But that third step, that is the most critical part, and it goes against every instinct you might have. You never, ever move the client. Your gut might be screaming to help them up, but you could actually make an injury so much worse. Your job is to make the scene safe and stay with them until the trained medical pros get there.
And this right here just shows you the nuanced level of training that's required. Staff have to know how to tell the difference between different types of crises in an instant. A physical emergency, like a fall or a seizure, means a call to Hatzalah, which is a volunteer emergency medical service. But a psychiatric emergency, where a client might be a danger to themselves or someone else, that requires a call to 911, because they're the ones with the right training to handle that kind of situation.
So after going behind the curtain and seeing the intense training, the strict rules, and the life-or-death responsibilities, it kind of leaves us with one final question. Does understanding what this work truly takes make the mission seem more challenging, or does it actually make it feel that much more important?